When people talk about World War II, they usually focus on battles, generals, and weapons. But none of that mattered without one basic thing: food. Because every soldier needed to eat, every day, in every climate, under every condition. Food in World War II wasn't comfort. It was logistics. It was planning. It was strategy. Without feeding an army, nothing else works. Today, we're not talking about combat stories. We're going behind the scenes to answer one question: how the U.S. Army actually fed its soldiers in World War II. In real, daily operations. Not in movies, not in theory, but in the real grind of war. By the mid-war years, the U.S. Army was feeding millions of troops, scattered across the globe, from Europe to the Pacific to North Africa. This wasn't a handful of folks. This was tens of thousands of men, and eventually millions. Each one needed 3 meals a day, consistently, no matter where they were. That adds up to tens of millions of meals every single day, costing hundreds of millions of dollars during the war effort. This was not about a platoon's cook improvising dinners. Food was treated like a major logistical operation. Planned, packaged, shipped, and delivered with precision. The backbone of feeding millions of soldiers was the ration system, a set of standardized food packages for every condition. A rations, fresh food, meat, vegetables, bread, coffee, served when supply lines and kitchens were available. B rations, packaged and preserved foods, canned, dry, preserved, still cooked by Army cooks when fresh food wasn't possible. C rations, individual canned meals sized for one soldier for one day, combinations like meat and beans, ham and eggs, pork and potatoes, designed to survive storage and transport. D rations, high-calorie chocolate bars meant as emergency energy, not a meal. K rations, lightweight individual 3-meal packs, originally for paratroopers and short missions. Every ration had a purpose. Nothing was random, and each was designed to survive the heat, humidity, rough handling, and long supply chains of a global war. Soldiers didn't pick their meals. Menus were engineered by Army nutritionists, Quartermaster officers, and medical experts. They calculated calories based on activity and conditions. In combat zones, daily needs could range from around 3,000 to nearly 4,000 calories to keep men energized and healthy. Menus were standardized weeks in advance and adjusted, based on theater and supply availability. This wasn't comfort food. It was precision supply planning. Feeding an army stretched across oceans was a massive chain. American farms and factories produced food. It was shipped by rail to U.S. ports. Cargo ships carried it to overseas theaters. At ports of arrival, supplies were sorted and shipped inland. Trucks, trains, and supply units moved it forward. Field kitchens cooked and distributed meals. Every step had dedicated logistical units. If any single step failed, soldiers could go hungry. Feeding troops was treated like a strategic military mission, not a support task. Most soldiers didn't cook their own meals. Army cooks were trained specialists running field kitchens, capable of feeding hundreds of troops. These kitchens used gasoline or wood-fired stoves and worked long hours, often close to combat zones. Their mandate wasn't creativity. It was consistency and reliability. Whenever possible, they served hot meals. And hot food was both energy and morale. The Army understood food mattered psychologically as much as physically. That's why coffee was prioritized, fresh bread baked when possible, and desserts included when supplies allowed. A hot meal after days of canned rations could lift spirits dramatically, especially in brutal conditions like cold European winters or tropical jungles. Soldiers often traded items in their rations: candy, coffee, even cigarettes, to break monotony and boost morale. Feeding the U.S. Army in World War II wasn't about comfort. It was about planning, logistics, discipline, and adaptability. Millions of meals across continents, every single day, not glamorous, not heroic in the Hollywood sense, but essential. Because an army that doesn't eat doesn't march. An army that doesn't eat doesn't fight. The real unseen force behind victory was the ability to feed millions under fire, again and again.